Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm Alex Whiteley, and today I'm joined with Kyle from KG Theatres. It's Christmas time. We got given free tickets to a pantomime by our friend Sarah Leftwich. How's it going? Thank you for the tickets. And it was at Sundorne Sports Centre.
Yep.
And me and Kaz, my wife, and Timmy went, and we had the best night. We really enjoyed it, and I made a point to reach out to Kyle, who was like the main actor, the beast of Beauty and the Beast, and just your phone's falling.
That's it.
We're live on Instagram as well while we're doing this. I feel like I've got a little stand for that somewhere. I don't know. But we're live on Instagram. How's it going, guys? While we're doing this, and I wanted to reach out because this year we wanted to concentrate on sort of community projects and things that what KG Theatre are doing. So thank you for joining the show.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Love it.
Let's get a bit of background about you, though. Where are you from originally? Are you from Shrewsbury?
Actually just outside Birmingham originally.
Okay.
Nice place called Dudley. But, yeah.
Love Dudley.
Yeah, love it. But yeah, I moved over to Shrewsbury probably about 7 months ago now.
Really? That's soon?
Not long, yeah.
That's insane. Brilliant, though.
Yeah.
I love that.
Moved in with our friend Nat. And she was great. Helped me set up KG Theatre. And then as soon as I set it up, I was like, right, we're doing a panto. So
that's really interesting, actually, because I speak to a lot of people that like sort of move away from Shrewsbury and come back. People that have been here for years can't seem to find not the strength to move out because Shrewsbury's amazing. There's a lot of people that just want to stay, but you're brand new, baby. You're just come here
straight in, yeah.
Yeah. What made you want to come to Shrewsbury? Friends, family, or?
I was working with Kickstars, and I was living in Shifnal before I moved up here. And I just thought most of my time's in Shrewsbury, so I may as well get myself over there. And here I am.
Here you are.
Here I am.
No regrets.
No regrets.
It's a great little town, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
When it comes to creatives, we speak to a lot of people on the show. The show's been going for a few years, and we haven't run out of like talent yet to speak to. It's like a bottomless pit of just amazing talent.
It really is, and I'm finding new talent all the time.
Yeah.
Whether it's the kids I coach football to, or people I mentor in the theatre world, it's incredible. It really is.
Well, shout out to the guys from Shrewsbury. So what's your background then? Are we talking theatre, or what?
So yeah, on a theatre basis, I've performed now for about 7 years. I started quite late, in all fairness. I was 20. No, I wasn't. I was 19 when I started. And yeah, I found a love for it.
Where did you start then? What was your sort of the first roles you started getting where you're like, oh?
It was actually panto.
Really?
When I first got my first acting job. And I started just at a little amateur dramatics company. I was doing little bits before then, like doing like little plays by like Ray Cooney and things like that, and like proper old school plays. And then I branched out and found a real love for it when I did my first panto, which was Cinderella. And that was with Debonair Dance Academy. Shout out to them in Cradley Heath. So back where I'm from.
Hi guys, how's it going? If you're listening to a Shrewsbury Biscuit like that,
that's it. But yeah, it was.
What kind of role do you get as a first role though? What would you have preferred? Would you have preferred the big beastie role of being out there, throwing yourself, leap of faith?
I actually did. I threw myself straight into the deep end, and I Prince Charming, the first ever show. Yeah. Threw myself straight in there.
Look at you. You are actually Prince Charming. Come on, look at that. If they were to cast me, I'd make a good like Bill Sykes or something like that. Not like a. In fact, I think that would add to the appeal if you had a guy like a bigger set of guy with me with a gruff beard. Look for your Instagram post. If you had someone like me as Prince Charming, that would just be the joke. That'd be hilarious.
That's what Panto's
Hello,
about.
Guys.
100%. We'll work on it.
Panto, though, Cinderella. Okay, what kind of work goes into your first time doing this? Remembering your lines, remember the choreography. How long does that all take?
I think that's genuinely the main worry is when people do it for the first time. You look at it and you go, "Am I going to remember my lines? Am I going to get out there? And am I going to freeze?" and you just don't, you know, you've got such a support network around you. And this is what I carried over into KG Theatre, and I made sure I did, because for us to pull a panto out the bag in the 4 months that we did it, and for it to be the end product that it was, I think is a massive achievement for anyone involved in it. And I made sure I carried that over from past experience, because I just think it's so important to make everybody feel comfortable so they can go home and they actually want to do bits at home. So, yeah, we do the classes, but it's all about you as an individual, really, and what you want to get out of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it is incredible how much work goes into it, because you don't realise, like, even as an actor, you don't realise all the behind the scenes stuff. And it wasn't until I opened KG Theatre that I got a full taste of it, really, and I was just a bit like, whoa.
Yeah, I was going to say, so going from like actor as part of a theatre company to running a theatre company, is it just you, or is there a group of you guys, or is it like a committee?
At the moment, it's just me.
Wow.
So, yeah.
For a guy that's been in Shrewsbury 7 months, and, you know, obviously only been planning this for, you know, even that time as a maximum, you did a really good job of making sure everybody knew their lines, knew where they were going to be. And
yeah, I mean, the lines is just a small part of any performance, you know. You can improvise with panto. Like, if you forget a line, you can ad-lib. You never do the same show twice.
Yeah.
Regardless. If it's a musical or an actual, like, old school play that people know well, or, you know, you have to be a bit more strict with yourself on your lines and things like that. But with panto, you take a little bit of a step back and you're like, okay, I can throw that little joke in there.
A bit more relaxed, yeah.
Yeah, and you get your cast coming in and you're like, you know, can we put this line in? I think that'll be funny. And I'm like, absolutely.
It helps when you can just like launch sweets at the kids and like spray them with water because I've got my lines, you know.
100%.
We got drenched, by the way.
Nice.
Absolutely drenched.
Which one was it? I'll tell him.
It was Beauty and the Beast, but we would. Who was it that shot us with a gun?
Was it Dopey Daisy?
I can't remember. It was both of them, I think. They were both. By the way, they were both brilliant. The younger one, she was fantastic, by the way.
There you go, Amelia. Shout out to you.
She was brilliant. We even said, we were like, oh, who's the best? Obviously, there's the girl that played Belle. She had an amazing voice. Amazing voice. And then the lady that played the younger... I forgot her name. Is it Daisy?
Dopey Daisy, yeah.
Yeah, she was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Good. Well, I mean, they all were.
Yeah, I'm so proud of everybody, you know, and for a lot of them, it was their first time ever doing a theatre performance. So for that, again, to do it in such a short space of time and how much they had to remember and know, it was amazing. It really, really was. And I'm so proud. It hits me just talking about it. Really,
yeah.
You know,
it's your baby, man. It's what you created. You know,
yeah.
And you know, I guess when you're making something like this, you're wearing your heart very much on your sleeve, because the posters have gone out, people have bought the tickets, it's out there. You're making this thing, and you know, people have been learning the classes. There's so much weight on your shoulders. So the first night something like this goes out, what's going through your head? I mean, you've got to act as well as direct, as well as make sure it's all running.
I think the lead up is scarier than the going out there on the first night. Obviously, the first night, as your first ever performance under your own theatre company, is very scary. Don't get me wrong, it is. But I think you're just like, right, the hard work now is done. It's down to you guys to go out there and put on a show. And everyone absolutely smashed it, didn't they?
They did.
I was like...
It was fun, and this is what I got out of it. I mean, okay, you've got... Right, let's not beat around the bush. You've got your huge production value things like Aladdin that was going on in Telford. Was Aladdin that was in Telford, and then there was the other one, Peter Pan, that was in Shrewsbury. These are huge production things. They've got the money to build the huge sets and hire out the theatres and bring in professionals to train. What you guys did was, with a shoestring budget, it really brought like a community together, which is what attracted me to you guys, because we went to watch Aladdin, which was fantastic, and we came to see you as well. But like, there was just a real special feel. What you guys do to the community, I mean, did you get an inkling of what you were doing for the people around you, the families?
To be honest, I think it's hit me more now.
Yeah,
as where I've actually took a step back from all the drama and the paraphernalia of just everything going on, and I'm just like, okay, I can sit back and actually look at what I've achieved, and not only me as a whole team, the cast, the backstage crew, me as a director, you know, everyone coming together. What they achieved over that short space of time was really incredible.
How did you know who to bring together for this? Had you already been speaking?
I had no idea.
Yeah?
I can hold my hands up and say I did not have a clue.
So the production team would you just put flyers out and people came to you?
Well, it was actually Nat again, who I mentioned before. She did sound and lighting for us. She actually owns.
Well done, Nat. Hold on.
Oh yeah, massive shout out to Nat. She actually owns the games hall.
Okay.
And she does all the sound and lighting for like a dance studio, so she helped with the choreography side of things as well. But everything else was just literally down to me and the cast. It was literally picking bits and bobs, and the backstage crew. They've never done backstage in a theatre before, so you know you had literally a load of rookies put on a show like a bunch of professionals would. So it's amazing. So proud of everyone.
Yeah, they did a great job. Were there any moments during, like, how many nights did you guys play?
We just did the 2 nights.
2 nights
last year, yeah. So
were any of the nights absolute pandemonium? Did anything go wrong? Like, I mean, it didn't seem it to be. I think the light fell over once. I think that was about it on ours, but there was nothing like serious that went wrong. That was it.
Funny story. Yes, something went drastically wrong.
Really?
Yes.
Is it one of those where
everyone watching it knows exactly what I'm about to say? So the moment before the doors opened on the first night, the set broke.
Really?
It literally collapsed and smashed to bits. And I was like, I literally could have cried. The doors had literally just opened and guests were coming in. The set had just gone bang. And I was like, oh my word.
What happened? Did you have to fix it?
We didn't have time. So we literally went out there with everyone's hard work on the floor in the next room.
No.
But yeah, we couldn't get it fixed in time. And, you know, we've got much more time this year to get it done properly. You know, we did it all on such a budget and we did it in such a short space of time that it was incredible to put the show on in general rather than...
But this is the point I get. This is the point I'm making about the whole Aladdin, Peter Pan, and you guys, where you guys sit as a some sort of, if you're sitting around a round table, you'd all be an equal sort of, because you can see from the set you don't have that budget, but it doesn't matter because the atmosphere on stage and what you guys are putting out is fun. I mean, the families were all enjoying, the kids were clapping. It was just fun, and that it doesn't matter. I feel like you proved actually that you can create a good aesthetic without a huge set.
Yeah,
you know, is that what you felt?
Yeah, 100%. Like I keep referring to the cast, and you know, I could not have done it without anyone involved. You know, it's not just down to me. Yeah. Okay, I directed it and I wrote it and I was in it. Yeah, there was a lot of hard work, but everyone else just... It's incredible people, they really are.
Really humbling when you got people around you that you can sort of trust that will get on with... Get on, that's a really harsh word of saying it, but just really get their heads down and make sure that these things work, you know. Last year we did a thing called Pod Aid, which was a huge effort, or a team that spanned across the world. It was a 24-hour live podcast, and I mean, I conceived the idea. I went and got the sponsorship, and I had this team of people working around with me. But when there were problems, everybody was like, "Ow," and I'm like, "What?" Like, you know, it's just nuts when everybody's looking at you and you've got to solve these issues.
Yeah, exactly.
It's daunting, right?
Yeah, it is, and everyone comes to you because it's your thing. But I'm like, we can do this as a team. And that's what it is, and it is, like you say, about bringing that community together and everyone just gelling. Like, we were staying up in the studio until gone 10 o'clock at night, just painting the set and getting people in on their days off from their full-time jobs, just coming in, painting the set, and all those little details is what makes the show what it is. And the show for everyone watching is a show. For everyone involved, it's completely different. It's feeling it and getting that warm feeling inside where you go out and you're like, we achieve this together.
When you say a joke and they laugh,
Yeah,
and you wrote that,
yeah,
you know, it's a bit like when you do a best man speech. I'm handing my camera to my wife, who's going to be our unofficial or official photographer. But yeah, when they reciprocate, that instant reciprocation from something you've written or what you performed. And when it comes to your acting talent as well, did they have a lot of input with the script? And this doesn't sound right. Can I say this instead?
It's gone again.
Yeah, sorry.
The script, to be fair, was already written pretty much. There was bits and bobs where we tweaked it, and people come to me and was like, "Oh, that's a bit backwards," or the stage direction on that is off the wrong side, and it's just something that literally just slips your mind. But everyone coming in as an input and saying, "Oh, can we put this in? Can we put this in?" Or this means something to my family. Can we put this in? Because my family are going to come and watch my first ever performance. And I'm like, absolutely. If it works, then by all means, get on it.
Yeah.
Because we had Gustavo, who played our villain.
Yes.
She actually wrote a little bit of herself because I hadn't put it in.
And I've worked with her at the prison before as well. She's a fantastic actress.
Yeah.
For those who don't know on the Biscuit, if you don't know, then you don't listen to the show. But I do immersive acting at the prison.
Nice.
And we've done bits together where we've just spent the whole day in character, and it's exhausting.
It is. It really is. And people don't realise how much hard work goes on behind the scenes to put on a show that's an hour and a half, 2 hours long. And you're like, oh my gosh, we have to learn that many lines and that much choreography, stage direction, and that's just on stage.
So how much time did you have from the idea, like, I've got this idea, I want to do this, to the opening night? How much time went?
4 months.
4 months.
4 months and 2 weeks, so 4.5 months.
And from that moment, I guess, how long did you have to spend on choreography and acting? And
the choreography I was quite lucky with, to be fair, because I was like, nah, that's your department. Thanks for that. And yeah, I tweaked it a little bit, and I was like, yeah, I want to change this. We were up till 3 o'clock at nights choreographing something that didn't even get put in the show, and it was just like, things work, things don't, and you're like, okay, we'll
go
leave
with
it.
The flow.
We can put it in next year, or we'll change it, or save it, because it's a great piece, but we just didn't put it in. And it's that stuff. What's like, I wish I'd have got it right first time, but you're not gonna get it right first time, and it's just having that strong mentality. You've got to just keep going, and just say to yourself, it will be all right. It will be all right on the night. And people say it, and it actually is. It is genuinely all right on the night. And you go out there and you smash it, and everyone comes off, and people are crying because of how well they've done, and they can't believe it on how much they've actually achieved.
There was the one girl, she was like the candlestick, and she was something. What was she as well? She was the
fairy. Good fairy.
She would rush out. She would she'd be the candlestick. She'd rush out. She'd come back. She'd be the fairy godmother again, and then she'd rush out, and then she'd be the candlestick again. I was like, what?
Yeah,
immense talent
from an 11-year-old.
Right.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
it really is.
And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the talent you brought in, because obviously 4 months you got to plan this thing. Mm-hmm. You're bringing in people, I guess, that have never done this. I read the website. There's people that's never done this before. What was that like as an experience for you, giving these people these opportunities?
I think people coming in with no expectation, and people coming in just genuinely for the fun of it and just wanting to love something again. I think that's really important. And I think if you can bring that out of people, like, God, I think every single cast member, including me, had a breakdown at some point. Literally was just like, I can't do this. And for everybody, because it was my first time directing as well. I've never directed before. I've never written a show before. And like you say, when someone laughs at your joke, it's like, I did that, But for everyone, they all had that feeling when they came off stage. And for them being new to it all, it's even better. It's even more a sense of achievement because they have never done it before. And it's like, it's amazing. It really is.
And how much did it take to get them to that point, though? These people, the lessons.
Some people longer than others.
Yeah.
Some people, you can always improve. even acting now, I've done it for 7 years. I can still improve.
Leonardo DiCaprio when he won his Oscar like 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. You can always improve, and you can know acting and singing and dancing like the back of your hand, but you can always improve on something. You'll never look at your own performance and go, that was perfect, because it never is. And you always change something, no matter how well you know your lines, no matter how well you know the dance, or no matter how confident you might be, you can always do something better. And I
agree with that completely. I think it's dangerous to be too cynical of yourself. I mean, I do a radio show every week, and I listen back just to listen for how I sounded. And this week's show I was good. The equipment failed, so but I'm not gonna look at that and go, oh, you're terrible, Whiteley. You're never going to do this. You're never going to make it in this world. You know, I'm going to be like, well, these things happen. You know,
exactly.
But yeah, it's good to take notes and to learn. What have you learned from this experience that you will take on to the next show? Any lessons?
I think just being more organised is definitely a big one. I think the organisation was there, but having that longer time to prepare is really, really important, because people don't realise.
Can you find, though, if you've got like 4 or 5 things in your head, you kind of like, you forget what you've got to do. It kind of paralyses you a little bit.
Down. Like, I could be in the middle of my work day and I'll just literally write it down. As soon as I get a chance, I'll write it down.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, what was that again? And I've got scrap bits of paper everywhere, and it's all got my ideas on it. And then I'll go home, type it into my laptop. Or I'm currently writing our next panto already.
Okay, what are you?
We're doing Aladdin.
Doing Aladdin?
We're doing Aladdin.
Oh,
so
if you need a big guy to play the genie,
you know,
my wife's laughing because she knows it. That, you know, that's the kind of roles to me. I think the prison wrote a bad Santa role for me once.
Nice.
Bad Santa was just amazing. I'd like throw up stains down my t-shirt. I had a bottle of whiskey. He's like, what do you want? Yeah. You know. Because, no, but Aladdin's fun.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be.
What made you choose that?
It's a personal favourite.
Yeah,
I love Aladdin. I love the remake with Will Smith. I like the original.
Really?
Yeah,
that's controversial. I mean, I liked it, but it wasn't. It was no Robin Williams. I mean, those Robin Williams songs are just.
It is different. Yeah, but I like it. I like them both, and I love the storyline of Aladdin, because there's so many little stories that go on, rather than Aladdin being a thief and falling in love with the princess. There's so many little things that go on, like the genie's trying to find himself. The handmaiden is starting to fall for the genie as he's finding himself, so she's learning about him as he's learning about himself. You know, there's so many little tips and tricks about it, and people, until you step back and have a look at it, you don't actually understand. You're like, actually, got a point there, you know.
Yeah.
So
I'd like to see, like, you know, how they took Sherlock and they did it with Benedict Cumberbatch with the modern era, which, by the way, is amazing. I love that's one of the best shows ever made. I'd love to do that. See that with Aladdin, a modern day Aladdin in today's world. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It would. And there's so many. This is what I love about theatre, because you can see the stage performance, but understanding the stage performance is different. You know, there's so many things where you just don't pick up on it until you take a step back and actually have a look at, like, why they're feeling that way and why that happened. And, you know, the storyline's one thing, but understanding the storyline,
yes,
you know, it's different.
And sometimes you can absorb information without realising you're actually understanding it. I mean, one good example was, I don't know if you've ever watched it, it's weird, Paul, but Altered Carbon was this amazing series on Netflix, and it's super complicated sci-fi, and I was like, what is going on? Why is he over there? Why is he talking to this? But by the end of it, you're like, I understand it now. I wasn't really understanding it at the time, but
that's what makes it so gripping, I think, because we're watching this thing at the moment called Euphoria. I don't know if you've seen it.
Oh yeah, with Dwight Schrute out of The Office. Is the one where the comic book. Oh, you think about the Zendaya one.
Zendaya one, yeah.
That's I know the one you're on about now.
So we're watching that, and there's so many little stories in that.
Yes,
so, like, if
she's an amazing actress.
Oh, she's incredible. She really is. But if anyone's seen Euphoria, watch it. It's class. And it's something I looked at and I was like, I don't really know if I'm going to get into this. And I was lying there and I felt myself like, it's actually quite good. And I was like, oh no, I need to carry on again. You know, I was watching. Now I need to carry on with my work.
I think what gripped me about it the most is this is that young girl from Spider-Man talking about sex and drugs and stuff, and I'm like, what?
That's it.
It was just nuts, yeah. But
yeah, it is. And there's so many little stories like drug abuse, domestic violence. There's so many little things, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, okay, it happens in real life, but then you understand how they feel and what they actually go through on a day-to-day basis.
I guess it must be really important to have empathy as someone that's going to write a script.
100%.
Especially when it comes to writing comedy bits, you got to understand what's funny out there. You know,
you've got to find a middle ground when you're writing a script. You know, there was innuendos in the panto that the kids wouldn't get, but the adults would. But it still makes sense to the kids. You know,
I like the widow Twanky or whatever. That character comes out and starts flirting with that particular guy. Yeah. All right, Neil or whatever his name was. You know, how's it go? I love that. I love that singling someone out in a crowd. One of my favorite examples of that was Ross Noble, famous sort of Geordie comedian. It's strange, you know. There's a guy that was late for a show, and he'd organised for everybody when he sits down to start rubbing his head and patting his head. So he sat down in his chair and everybody starts patting his head. He's like, what's going on? Organised chaos. I think that's great.
It is. It's brilliant, and you can have a laugh. Like I say, with panto, you can enjoy it, and it's really cool. Like,
this is going to sound like an odd question. It's really not, though. Is it, how important is failure in this situation?
So important. People don't realise, because if you don't fail, you don't learn. I always say you don't learn until you fail, because how are you going to know if it works if you don't fail a few times? You know, and there's so many things like the set failing. I know I'm not going to do the set like that again next year. So if I did, I'd be stupid. You know, because it's just going to fail again.
Well, you know, you're in a very creative town. I'm pretty sure if the thousands and thousands of people that listen to the Biscuit now, if there's somebody listening out there that is interested in making you a set, I'm pretty sure there's somebody in Shrewsbury that would, because that's the kind of town it is.
100%, yeah, and all hands on deck. You know, if people want to come and help, and they can offer their talents, or they can offer just a bit of free time just to help with a few little bits, whether it's making a prop or painting the set, you know, it all helps. I couldn't have done it. That set wouldn't have been finished if it weren't for the cast.
What impact do you think you had on the local community with this? Then, not necessarily giving them something to watch, but the people that took part.
I think, again, just the sense of bringing everyone together.
Yeah, I got that as well.
I think everyone who was involved felt like a family, rather than just a cast of people putting a show together. Like, we're still in contact now. We're currently organising a games night just for the cast to just take a step back and go, we did it, guys, you know? Because we haven't had that time, really. We had the panto, and then it was Christmas, then it was New Year, then everyone was back to work again. So we haven't had that time just to wind down and go, you know, we actually did it, and I'm so proud of everyone. Yeah, we had that little on stage, there's your gifts, you know, I'm so proud of you all.
Yeah, that was nice. That was.
It's much more than that, and everyone involved can see that. And I mean, I'll be there for absolutely anybody who was involved, because they were there for me when I needed them, you know. I relied on that cast. I mean, I've taken a break for a little bit because life is just absolutely nuts, and any of my prison family that's listening understand this. You know, my schedule is so nuts at the moment that I kind of feel like I'm treading water at the moment. So to be doing stuff at the prison as well it's just mind blowing. But they are my family; they're my prison family. I've worked with them for years. I know exactly what you feel. This is like a brotherhood, isn't it? Yeah, it really is. It really is, and it's even if you, whether you create it or whether you don't, you're a part of it. And anyone who walks through the doors to KG Theatre is part of the family, regardless on whether they stay for 2 months or whether they stay for 20 years. You know, anyone who walks through that door is part of the family.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. It really is.
Where is this going for you then? Are you happy with making something like this and staying here and developing it?
Absolutely. Obviously, we're always looking to get bigger and better. Always looking to progress and make the shows better for people watching, people involved, you know. It's always looking to get better, because I think if you just settle for something, then it will never take off. As where if you take a step back and analyse what you could have done better, what worked, what you're going to keep, what you're going to change, how are you going to change it, how are you going to, you know, write the next show, or how are you going to choreograph the next dance. You know, you've got to set the bar high, because if you don't, you're just going to settle in the middle.
Yeah. Reach for the stars.
Absolutely.
You got to.
We're just opening our classes again. So we had our panto classes where people would just come in and just do panto work, but we're doing the classes starting next Sunday, not this one coming, following Sunday. So 6th of February.
Okay, and you're looking for people to come and take part?
Yeah. So we got acting classes and singing classes, both on a Sunday evening.
Age range wise?
11 plus.
11 plus?
11 to 100.
I saw that, I like that. It was 11 to 99. What if you're 100? I thought, what if you're 100? It was hard luck. Sorry, Bert, you're going to have to go. Yeah. Keep telling you, man.
If someone was 100 and they come through the door and they wanted to take part, I think I'd let them in.
I think they need to get insurance. But no, yeah, that's great that you're so inclusive like that. And yeah, so if you're listening to the Biscuit now and you want to get involved, how did they get involved? And is there any sort of prices involved? I mean,
it's literally for a class, it's £5.
Yeah,
£5 for a class. So you get your first one free. So your first class is free, so you can figure out if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. Mm-hmm. If you do, brilliant. Come and join the team.
And these are valuable skills. I always say this, whether you're a podcaster, whether you're an actor or a singer, or whether you're a gamer or something like this, but if you can learn to project yourself in front of an audience, no matter what audience it is, it's a super valuable lesson. So when I say to people, like, that £5 is worth every single penny, and it goes towards a cause that will, at the end of the year, will create this really nice production for people.
That's it. And you know, we're a bit different, because with KG Theatre, you pay for the classes like you would a normal acting class, but you get much more out of it because you've got that family. You know, you've just got such a support network around you where you're like, man, I love it. You know, I love every minute of it, and there's not a moment where I just want to go, you know what, forget it, because I know what people are getting out of it, and it really is. It's incredible. It
really helps when you've been there and you've done it. You know, you started a 19 theatre company.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you start off as a tree, I mean, like, people see that I'm a tree, like, you know. Yeah. But even if you do that, you get that experience of being part of the family. Yeah. When I first started the prison, I was a zombie. I was like, you know, and I love that. And I got to know people, and I got to play around, be silly, and, you know, and try out different things and audition for different roles. And because you get braver and braver the more you do it, you can either do what you did, Prince Charming, jump into that lagoon, or you can test the toe with your water and get in gradually.
Exactly. And either way, you get pretty much the same end product.
And by the way, I'm not comparing what I do to.
No.
I've spoke to some amazing like directors and actors all from all around the world, from all walks of life. Billy West, for example, you know, and they're like, "Oh, the stuff I do at the prison is just so important." What were you saying again? But no, it's all relevant. It really is.
It is, and like I said, you get the same sort of end product out of it anyway. So it doesn't matter whether you're a tree or whether you are Prince Charming. It really doesn't matter. You're part of that family. And
I'd be happy with a tree. If you cast me as a tree, I'd be very happy.
Be a tree.
Yeah.
You can be the Cave of Wonders if you like in Aladdin.
Yeah.
There you go. There's a role for you.
Oh, there's an innuendo.
Yeah.
Enter my cave. Let's not do that. Nice. No. I love what you're doing, and like I said, it wasn't production value. As a money amount doesn't mean anything to me if you are gripping people. If you're out there and you're throwing a stone in the water, let's see where this goes.
I think it was nice for everyone watching to see that amateur performance. Even though we're a professional company, we put on an amateur performance because there wasn't that funding. You know, there wasn't anything behind it to make it that professional, to give it that professional
anything but passion.
Yeah, exactly. And
anything but passion.
You know, there's things that I've done in the past. Started off doing like little amateur dramatic performances, and then building it up and eventually going on tour. And you know, when you're out on tour, it's incredible. You know, the stages are huge, and you got thousands of people watching you each night, and it's like, whoa.
So is that what you want to try and get from this? Is get a touring theatre group?
I think eventually, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, if it can take off and see the stars, then brilliant. You know, there's no reason why we can't play the Birmingham Hippodrome. You know, there's no reason why we can't play the London Palladium, because it's in there. And I think if you feel that as a cast, you know, it's incredible.
You've got to have these, and this isn't going to sound terrible again, you've got to have these ridiculous dreams and these goals that just seem like, I've had these ideas before where I've gone, and I've spat them out, and they've happened. They've just happened, you know. Yeah. So you've got to keep doing it. You have. To anybody that's listening to this and weren't aware of what KG Theatre were doing at Sundorne, or you're hearing about this for the first time, please check them out. You got a website, haven't you?
kgtheatre.com, yeah.
And Facebook and Instagram. Please check them out. And you know, if you've got a young one, like from 11 onwards, or even if you're feeling like you definitely want to dip your toe into a bit of acting, get in touch.
Yeah, 100%. We welcome people from all walks of life, all genders, all shapes and sizes. It doesn't matter. You know, you're part of the family as soon as you walk through the door. So come and try it. Is
there anything apart, because you say you surprisingly wrote a panto, you know, and is there anything you want to do instead of panto? Is there something, any ideas you're thinking?
Yeah, definitely getting a couple of musicals in, because musicals is where I feel comfortable.
Yeah.
That musical theatre vibe is just, it's incredible. It really is. But you've got to build yourself up slowly, because if you go, right, I'm going to put on, I don't know, Wicked, for instance, or Les Mis, one of the big name ones, and you're like, whoa, people have already got that expectation on what Les Mis is, on what Wicked is. You know, you've got to start small by doing like an old one, like maybe Oliver or Annie or something like that, because they've got the expectation. But
Bill Sykes,
yeah,
do that.
You go. But you can attack it from any angle.
Yeah, of course.
As where if you put on a show like Les Mis, it's got to be to a T. As where there's no reason why we can't do it, but it's little steps.
But it's a classic, isn't it? It's literally a classic. And again, Oliver is one of those you can have a bit of fun with if you really wanted to, you know. What I was going to say, one of the things with me is, personally, and it's the same with a lot of guys, I think, musicals lead him into a sense of vulnerability, I guess, when you listen to him, like, oh my God, this is making me feel so emotional, right? Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of talk with men and their emotions and how actually it's really important to get them across. And so you start being a bit more open-minded. And I feel like with the greatest show one of the greatest musicals of all time, by the way, guys, is the South Park movie. Obviously, it's a rude one, but as a musical, it's amazing. But like The Greatest Showman, for me, I was like, oh, let's put this on. It's got Wolverine in it. Yeah. And we sat and watched it as a phone. And from that moment, I was like, oh. And it gripped me. And from that moment on, I've been watching, as a family, we've been watching music. I just watched Tick, Tick, Boom with Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good. I loved it. It was just so fun and so open and so free. And I was just like, it's really done something to me.
It is good. Positive. When you see, like, you've got Wolverine in The Greatest Showman, people look at Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man
against Zendaya, you know.
Boom, yeah. And you're like, whoa, you know. But there's loads of avenues, and I think when you take that plunge into theatre, don't be somebody you're not. I think it's very, very important to remember who you are and where you came from. Because for me, I pretty much came from nothing. And
nobody likes a prima donna, okay?
No, exactly.
And I'll say that as a pretty big prima donna.
Yeah, guys. But no, it's important, and don't try and be don't try and have the same voice as Idina Menzel.
Yeah.
Don't try and have Hugh Jackman's voice. You know, find yours, and that's what we focus on in our singing classes, and that's what we will be focusing on for, you know, as long as the singing classes are on, you know, because it's so important to not try and sing it like somebody else. It's important to sing. It took me 3 years to find my voice because I was always trying to mimic everyone singing that song. So like I'd sing an Ed Sheeran song and I'd try and sound like Ed Sheeran, or I'd sing a musical theatre song and I'd try and be like the person who sung that. And you're never going to find your voice if you're doing that, because I think your voice is just unique to you, innit?
Yeah,
And like,
of course. Not everybody sounds like Newton Faulkner.
No, exactly. And don't we wish we all could? But it's one of them, people with that raspy voice, they've got the rasp. People with the power, they've got the vocal range. People with a huge range don't necessarily need power. I love someone that's got good range that can do anything. I mean, I played a bit of Stone Sour on the radio last night, which is Corey Taylor, and my wife was listening to it. I was like, yeah, that's the lead singer from Slipknot, and she was like, no, that doesn't make sense to me. My head's just, if you can do something different every single time, I mean, that's more valuable than someone that can go out there and sing like Evanescence or sing like Beyonce. Yeah, 100%.
And you do see there is a lot at the moment of this Kardashian fake eyelashes, girls with dark hair, really just overly concerned about their image at the moment, which is quite startling, to be honest, because you don't need to do that, girls. You really don't need to do that. There's a lot of natural beauty out there that you're hiding from doing that.
100%.
I don't know why I went down that avenue, but
could not agree more. And it's exactly the same in theatre. You're bringing that in. Don't lose yourself, because that's so important. There's 3 things. Don't lose yourself, because it's so important not to.
Yeah.
That if you do, it's hard to come back from. And I think the moment you lose yourself and you try and be somebody that you're not is when the problems start to come in. And like you say, we're seeing it with the girls at the moment with the fake eyelashes and the lip fillers. Yeah, do it for you. Don't do it for anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you a question that's going to sound like an attack. And bearing in mind, I'm a kind of actor myself. I'm not... Is there still a stigma about guys in theatre, about whether it's a camp thing to do or whether it's the Billy Elliot effect? There we go. That's the best way of putting it. I think they always will be. Yeah. But it's if you care about it. I could not care less. I'm sure Tom Holland is like absolutely crying. It's like,
that's what I mean. At the end of the day, you're going to be the person with the last laugh.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get more out of it than the people who are criticising you, calling you horrible things. That's what put me off theatre for so long. And that's why I didn't start till I was 19. I didn't do it in school or anything. And I always knew I enjoyed it. Yeah. And I was just like, how do I get into it? And then I got into it with a friend from school, and it was his mum's dance academy. Yeah. So I went there, and I walked in, and I was like, are people going to laugh at me? What's everyone else going to think? And then I took a step back and I was like, actually, I don't care. I want to do this for me. And that's all it is. Do it for yourself. It really is.
I mean, give yourself the license to go out there and really just express yourself in the most powerful ways you can. That's that sort of stigma. Don't let it bother you. I mean, like, I lived in the era of the 90s where you did something like that and there's a certain name you get called, and I hated that so much because it was for everything, even things that were just normal. And I really hated that I lived in that era, because I feel like it probably suppressed a lot of what I'm trying to do now. As I guess I'm a performer in some senses, but if I'd have started when I was a bit younger and I felt like I had the license to do that, I feel like I got robbed of that, seriously, genuinely. So
it's exactly the same with me. And this is why I do start right from back when you're 11, because at 11 you can start understanding like what it means. And when you get that transition into secondary school,
yes,
you're going to overcome a lot of issues anyway, because that's what secondary school is. Yes, it's valuable to be in secondary school, but people have opinions, and school's the most opinionated place to be, because you're trying to be everyone's friend, or you're trying to impress your teachers loads, and just find you. And I think that's so important, to just be yourself. Go out there and just smash it.
Especially if you've got a crew like what you've got. Because even if like the world is grey, we're everywhere else outside there, at least you can come to your fellow actors, your fellow crew members, or whatever, cast members, should I say. And you can be part of the family again, and suddenly it's a bit more colourful, and you can do what you need to do. It's a really nice place to be. It's your safe place. Well, Carl, do you know what? This has been a really refreshing chat. I mean, I always expect podcasts to sort of like kick. The way I've been doing these over the years, I noticed about sort of 15 minutes in, it sort of kicks into its second gear. But from the get-go, we just hammered at it, which is great. Agree. And I've really enjoyed it. So I'd love to, when you guys are doing Aladdin, if we can help you with the promo, come back on, bring some cast members.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we can have a sing-song. I don't know.
Definitely. Sounds good.
Maybe some of the rehearsals, we can bring some cameras and stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah?
Yeah. Even classes and anything.
What do you guys think on Instagram?
Yeah, what do you guys reckon? What do you reckon?
We come and shove a camera in your face while you're doing cartwheels up and down the sports hall.
And if it's not in your face, it's in mine, and I'm fine with that, so you should be.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
No, it's been great. Guys, I want to give you the opportunity to follow our website as well. All of our content is available now. You can press play directly off the website, or you can listen on Spotify, which is getting a lot of stick at the moment, Spotify. Or whatever podcast app you can play podcast app, whichever your favorite is, or you can use your home devices as well. I won't say it. Alexa, I can say that one, or the other ones. But our website is the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast.co.uk, and that's powered by our good friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website, make sure you check them out. They make an amazing website. It'll look just as good as ours, if not better. Definitely look better, because I'm in control of editing our website. I'm like, this will go here, it'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm in control of mine too.
I feel like when you look at someone's website, you're looking into a slice of their soul a little bit. You're kind of like, oh, this guy's really messy.
Yeah.
His bedroom's definitely a mess.
That's what you thought about me, guys.
Absolutely not. No. Right, guys, thank you so much again for coming on.
You.
And listeners, we'll catch you guys next time.
100%.
Brilliant.
Cheers, guys.